Welcome to this explainer. If you're prepping for the SPM English speaking exam, you probably know that feeling, right? The racing heart, the sweaty palms. But what if we could take that exact anxiety and turn it into your absolute biggest advantage? Well, let's dive right in. Today, we're taking a single, complete model answer for SPM Speaking Part 2, and we're going to break it down, literally piece by piece. We'll treat this like a real-timed mock test, so you can see exactly how a high-scoring response is built from the ground up. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll quickly cover the mock test setup, identifying fear, the root causes, taking action, the big picture, and finally, pronunciation mastery. Let's get going. Section 1, the mock test setup. Okay, let's put ourselves right there in the exam room. The clock starts the very moment you sit down, and the examiner hands you this exact prompt card. The topic? Your biggest fear. Now, you get exactly 1 minute to prepare, and then up to 2 minutes to hit these 4 bullet points. You've got to state what the fear is, why you feel that way, how to overcome it, and whether it's important to face fears. 2 minutes flies by when that adrenaline is pumping, so you need a really solid, structured plan. And here is exactly how you launch into that 2-minute window. You don't want to waste a single second. We start our mock test by hitting the ground running. You introduce the topic immediately by saying, "Today, I would like to talk about my biggest fear." And look at how brilliantly this connects to the reality of the room right then and there, the fear of failing in important situations such as examinations. You're relating the topic directly to the exam situation itself. It's relatable, it's honest, and it totally engages the examiner from word one. Section 2, Point 1, Identifying Fear. Let's deconstruct the very first requirement from your prompt card. It asks, what do you consider to be your biggest fear? Sounds simple, right? But to answer this without stumbling or freezing up, you need a very specific toolkit. You need the right vocabulary to express those high-stakes emotions without just repeating the same basic words over and over again. So let's equip you with Toolkit 1. Your vocabulary should include rich, descriptive words like failure, nervous, pressure, expectations, and achievement. Then you want to combine these with linkers like, first of all, in particular, and for instance. Arming yourself with these descriptive words and cohesive devices ensures your first point flows logically. Basically, it creates a clear map for the examiner to easily follow your thoughts. Let's see how that toolkit actually looks in action. First of all, my biggest fear is failure. Notice how effortlessly our model answer strings together the linker, first of all, with the key vocabulary, failure and nervous. It clearly explains the motivation, wanting to achieve good results and make the family proud. This builds an incredibly relatable, high-scoring opening that firmly checks off the very first bullet point on your prompt card. Section 3, Point 2, The Root Causes. Having identified the fear, the prompt now demands that we dive a bit deeper into your psychology. The second bullet point asks, why do you feel that way? Explaining the why means connecting your internal anxiety to external factors in the world around you. And to do that effectively, well, that requires a whole new set of words. Welcome to Toolkit 2. Your vocabulary here shifts to words like competitive, confidence, overthink, stressful, and worried. And your linkers need to show cause and effect, right? So, besides that, as a result, therefore. Using linkers like besides that shows the examiner you can successfully stack your arguments. Meanwhile, dropping a word like overthink perfectly and accurately describes the modern student experience. And this quote brilliantly illustrates the execution. Besides that, society today is very competitive. See, you're blaming external pressure. Then you bring it internal. Sometimes I overthink situations and lose confidence. This beautifully constructed segment links the internal loss of confidence directly to the external reality of a super competitive society. It just shows immense maturity in your speaking capabilities. Moving on to Section 4.3, Taking Action. Now, the narrative arc of our mock test totally shifts from dwelling on anxiety to taking proactive control. What can you do to overcome your fear? This is the exact moment where you demonstrate clear, actionable problem solving to the examiner. To do this, we crack open Toolkit 3. Your vocabulary needs to be active and positive here. Preparation, positive mindset, practice regularly, self-improvement, encouragement. The linkers should show progression, like, for example, in addition and gradually. Words like preparation and linkers like gradually signal to the listener that overcoming fear isn't some magic trick. It's an active, step-by-step process. Let's look at the model text and see how this builds.
To overcome my fear, I try to prepare well. For example, I practice speaking in front of a mirror. Grounding your answer with a highly practical, specific example, like literally practicing in front of a mirror, makes your speaking turn feel incredibly authentic. It proves you aren't just memorizing abstract concepts, You're sharing real, actionable experiences.
And then, boom, you deliver the knockout punch. Right at the end of this third point, you say, as the saying goes, face your fears. Dropping an idiomatic expression like this acts as a massive linguistic flourish. Examiners absolutely love it when students can naturally integrate common idioms into their speech. It just shows such a deep comfort with the English language.
Section 5, Point 4, the big picture.
For the final bullet point on your prompt card, it's time to zoom out. We need to evaluate the universal importance of this topic. Is it important for people to face their fears? Here, you aren't just talking about yourself anymore. You're talking about human nature. You absolutely must use strong, assertive language to justify your perspective on personal growth. Let's look at Toolkit 4. The vocabulary levels up once again. Challenge, independent, mentally stronger, self-confidence, personal growth. The linkers are way more sophisticated and academic now. Furthermore, consequently, utilizing transition words like moreover alongside powerful phrases like mentally stronger effectively proves your advanced fluency to the examiner. Bringing it home in the model text. Yes, I strongly believe it is important. When we challenge ourselves, we become mentally stronger. Moreover, overcoming fear can increase our self-confidence. Our model decisively answers the question, effectively wrapping up the core requirements of the prompt card. It leaves absolutely no doubt about your stance and beautifully completes the logical journey of the speech. Finally, Section 6, Delivery and Pronunciation Mastery. Okay, so you have the perfect script, but how you actually voice these words under the ticking clock is critical. There is a massive difference between a passing grade and a top-tier score. A flat delivery is monotone, rushed, and swallows syllables, but a dynamic delivery, that means you don't rush. You deliberately stress syllables, say competitive or independent, and crucially, use clear pauses after your linkers. When you say besides that, let it breathe for a microsecond. It makes you sound naturally confident and completely in control of the pace. To wrap things up, look at the structure we've built. 1. Identify the fear. 2. Explain the root causes. 3. Share overcoming strategies. And 4. Evaluate the importance. By following these 4 steps with effort and determination and using the right toolkits, you aren't just surviving this mock test, you're practicing the exact courage needed to conquer your future. So the next time you sit down and the examiner starts a timer, what will your first word be? Thank you for joining me on this explainer. Keep practicing those syllables, and I'll catch you next time.